This thing is unbelievable. It's not huge. It's not like a full-size skid steer, but you wouldn't be able to fit a full-size skid steer through that gate right there. That's the tree right there. The machine is small enough to get through this gate, and we have to go through this path right there to get to that tree. We have to go through this garden bed right here with our machine.
I need to do a little trim tight.
How you doing?
Excellent.
There it is. Big one. Basically, we had to build this ridiculous ramp system to be able to get into this guy's yard. Up here is pretty much where we're going to keep all the logs. We're going to basically move them by hand as much as possible, and then we'll probably take them with the machine and put them over there in a pile. And then when all the branches have been processed out of the area here, then we'll move the logs with the skid steer. This is definitely a new territory for me. I'm not very comfortable with this setup, but it's our first time with this mini skid. It fits through the gate. I mean, you know, we just did a couple jobs with this earlier today, and it paid for itself today, so I'm happy about that. And we had to do all kinds of stuff on these, cutting triangles and stuff, and angles, and ramps and screws, and it was a mess, but I think it's going to come out to be all right. Now we get to actually do the work. We're cutting the tree down, and it's super windy, super dangerous for climbing a tree, but it's an oak tree, so we should be all right. It's a pretty high tree, which means there's lots of clearance for rigging, lowering, and stuff like that. It's just a courage factor because it's extra high. So, and there's also the added exhaustion of climbing that distance. Alright, so as you can see, we just have the one lead left, and I'm in the middle of deciding whether I want to do the rest of that today or not. But we rigged all these pieces. That was good. That lead we did to the left, we roped off of this here, and they just kind of swung over like that, which was great because they were big heavy pieces and we didn't want to negative rig those. I still have to go back up there. I think I might go back up there today and handle that last bit of branches. We'll see.
Nice shot.
I think if I had a log under it, it would have been a little prettier. Alright, so we are on the job site today. As you can see, the tree is gone. This is day 3. As you can see, the mess is not as bad as it could be. A lot of the stuff was wood. Lots and lots of wood. Not as many branches, which is kind of interesting. It's cool though. So what we got left is just a stem, and we'll probably just lop it apart in a couple sections, and guy wants to leave it to 12 feet high or something like that. So my expectation on this job was that we were going to encounter some unforeseen difficulties, and thus far the difficulties that we've been having have mostly just been related to my fatigue up in the tree. And you know, I've really had a good time working with the guys. You know, the guys are doing an awesome job. Obviously, having the skid steer has changed everything, because the amount of mess and hauling and cutting that goes on in the backyard like this when you don't have that skid steer is so much worse. And so I'm just celebrating that I have this machine right here. This thing is unbelievable. It's not huge. It's not like a full-size skid steer, but you wouldn't be able to fit a full-size skid steer through that gate right there. That's a snug fit right there. I mean, that's probably wide enough for the wide track version of this machine. But we've done very well with this machine. It's carrying all these pieces out. When we get to these bigger pieces, it gets a little sketchy, but they're quite heavy, you know. And I would always cut those in quarters, cut them down to firewood size when I was lifting them by hand. So we're gonna probably do all this stuff disc by disc, you know, the whole, or actually that stuff up there, because that bottom part is staying. But you can see there's not a lot of trips back and forth left for the skid steer. And we had these bushes tied back so the men could go in between. That was a really good idea. And then once we remove all our stuff, then we got to put all these little fancy decorations back as close to where we found them as possible. We're getting into it now. We just got to do a little bit of climbing and move forward with the job. There's some pretty good sized stuff in here. This is a big job for a guy doing it by hand. You know, you never know if you're gonna die, man. You gotta always make love to your wife when you climb trees. You don't know when your last day is. So here's the pile that we got from that tree. All the way from here, all the way to there. That's all from that one tree. So we cut these rounds down to that size because anything bigger than that was pretty unreasonable for the machine to carry through that little small gate. But you can see there are some good sized bits here, like that one there. That's a full 2 foot diameter, and that's, you know, 3 feet or something, 4 feet long almost. So this saved us so much time and suffering. All of this, all of that right there, this whole row, that's 2 dump trailer loads full. So yeah, it was just unbelievable the volume of work that we were able to do with that machine. It was not only was it faster than having to cut the pieces down to size, but it was safer because, I mean, all that heavy lifting is not good on our backs. And I am so happy that we were able to get this job done in the days that we did. And the third day would have been a giant cleanup day. I probably would have had 4 or 5 guys out there, or I would have worked an extra 2 days. Could have been a 5-day job easily. All that wood having to get picked up and carried out. And of course, I'm very thankful to have my dump trailer as well, because we were able to carry the wood out with that, and we put all our tools in that on our final trip. But it was an awesome, awesome job. It went so well, and it didn't have to. It could have definitely had some things happen that would have messed it up quite a bit for me. But the job went very well, and as you could see in the video, the machine was performing quite well. And it didn't need to be faster than what it was. You know, going through that gate and doing all that maneuvering, there's only so much speed you can actually use in a situation like that. But we loved using that machine, and we'll be getting our money's worth out of it. So good luck out there, guys, and have a great day.